Now we're going to start our discussion of Chapter 4, the monetary system, what it is, and how it works. Okay? But before we step into the discussion about the monetary system, we would like to refresh our memory about money, okay? How it's defined and measured. These materials you should pick up from your intro class, okay? But again, here let's just quickly go over it, okay? And I believe in at the beginning of this chapter, in the textbook, you should find the discussion about these, okay? And that's why here I said, I would like to leave these for you guys as a reading assignment, okay? And so what is money? Now, there might be different understandings of money, okay? Sometimes we believe money is currency, the green pieces of paper in our pocket, right? For example, I said, I don't have money to purchase that car, right? Or to purchase even a cup of coffee, right? So under that scenario, what we actually mean by money is just physically, the green pieces of paper. However, sometimes the definition of money or the way we use that word money could be much broader. Okay? For example, sometimes we could say, we don't have money to buy that house, or we don't have money to send you to college, right? So in that case, money means the financial resources. Okay, it could be currency, it could be your assets, your properties, right? The stocks and bonds, any other investment you have, right? So generally speaking, it could be any type of wealth. Okay. So loosely speaking, you could say, money stays in between. Okay. It could be narrowly defined as currency or broadly defined as wealth. Okay. And Greg Mankiw, the book author, defined money as a stock of assets readily used to make transactions. Okay. Again, as I emphasized many times that in social sciences, definition is not that important, okay? Because if you look at the different textbooks, different authors, they may use different words to define the same thing, okay? Like money, all right? And the second thing, the basic thing is the functions of money, okay? And the first one is a medium of exchange. Again, when we purchase a cup of coffee, right, we pay cash or currency. So the money has been used as a medium of exchange, right? Now, without money, we can still exchange goods and services, but it's going to be much more difficult, okay? So here we said you have to find a double coincidence of leads before money was introduced to our economy. Okay? So for example, if you were the corn farmer, okay, and you would like to have some oranges, okay, and so you would, the first thing is you have to go out and find an orange farmer, okay, who has the orange for sale, all right, and then you got the next thing is once you find that guy, you got to make sure he also leads your corn, right? Otherwise, this transaction will never happen. Okay? If, for example, that orange farmer actually leads beef, okay, he just want to buy beef, nothing else. So again, this transaction won't happen. You won't be able to buy or exchange oranges exchange your or trade your corn for oranges. Okay? Not just the types of goods or services you have to find a double coincidence, but even the amount. You also need to be sure that you can reach agreement with the other party, right? Again, for example, you are willing and able to exchange 10 oranges, okay? And you also plan to give up up to, let's say, 3 pounds of corn, right? 3 pounds of corn. But when you go to that farmer, first of all, you guys got to negotiate this relative price, right? Second, the orange farmers may, just willing to give up like 5 oranges instead of 10 you want to purchase, right? Or he probably want you to purchase more than 10, okay? So again, no matter what situation we're looking at, it's going to be extremely difficult to trade, okay, or exchange. And that's why, we find money is quite useful. It actually not just make the transaction easier, okay, and also because of that, people are more willing to focused on what they are really good at in production. Okay, so in the old days, without money, because you have to find the double coincidence, that was, as we said, it's a barter economy, right? So you would find that sometimes if you would anticipate, it's going to be very hard to find someone selling the stuff you need or exactly amount you need. You'd rather just go ahead and produce it by yourself, right? That's why, back then, before the money was invented or introduced, you find people actually produced a lot, okay? Produce a lot of goods and services that they lead by their own. Okay? It's not because they were willing to do that. It's because they probably had to do it. Okay. And so once we start using money, we find that people can better focus upon what they're really good at. Okay, and that promotes the specialization of labor, so that the economy becomes more productive, more efficient. Okay, this is actually the positive contribution money makes to our society. Okay. And the second function is a unit of account. By that we mean it's a yardstick of prices in debt. Okay, so when you say, I owe you, you got measure it, right? Quantify how much I owe you. Okay, when we say, this smartphone is very expensive, how expensive, right? So once we find the dollar amount, then it will be, super clear how expensive that is. Okay. The third function of money is a store of value. Okay. If you remember, in the previous chapter when we talk about economic growth, I give you guys the hypothetical example where we compared two fishermen, right? And we said, right after the lucky day when they fished a lot, and they have to store the fish, right? But once we have money, we can trade, we can sell the fish to someone else, right? And then instead of storing the fish, we can simply, store the green pieces of paper, right? We can put them in the pocket, under the mattress, or put into a bank account. So saving becomes much easier, okay? And the third thing we want to help you refresh your memory is about the evolution of the payment system. Okay, and The first one is a commodity money, okay, which had been used in the old days, okay, very you know back in history. And the commodity money means the money with intrinsic value. By that we mean if it was not used as money, it still have it's still useful. It still has other functions. Okay, for example, in many prisoners of war, we find that people use cigarettes as the money because they were not allowed to use the paper money. Okay, so they just use a cigarette. Okay, whatever they want to buy. And we also find interesting uh, Pacific Island where people use these giant stones as their money. Okay, as you can see here, this is called the Yap. Okay, in the South Pacific Island. Okay, and you could imagine, when you want to go shopping. Okay, for example, you want to buy a engagement ring. Okay, um, you got hire a group of musclemen following you with such a giant stone. Okay, when you walk into that jewelry store, I guess the customer associates will look at you like, here comes my, you know, my kid's tuition bill, okay, or my electricity bill, right? So people find it's pretty inconvenient, okay, not just to carry these commodity money, but also to make sure these are properly made. For example, when we think about gold and silver, right? If you purchase something and you're supposed to pay like 6 ounces of gold, okay, when you put that much gold out of your pocket, the seller may argue that, well, that's not 6 ounces, that's less than that, right? Or if you use, let's see, 2 pounds of silver, okay, to purchase something else, and they may question you, is that really silver inside out, right? Like it might be something else. So later we find that the governments they come into this market and completely control the production of commodity money. Okay, so that they want to make sure it has been uh, made properly. Okay, like size, weight, and other things. Okay, but later people still find that it's not convenient to use commodity money, so they start using the fiat money. That means it does not have any intrinsic value. This happened also partially because of the government intervention. Okay, so once the government completely controlled the production of money, they later find that the money they produced, it doesn't have to be backed by gold, silver, or anything else. It could just simply be backed by the government itself. Okay, so the government promised that you can use the money, and then they can just simply issue the fiat money, okay, the paper money which we used these days. And of course, in the past few decades, we started using the checks and electronic payments or e-monies more often. We find it's more convenient. Okay, and so for the evolution of the payment system, along with the definition and the three functions, again, please go ahead and read them before our meeting. Okay, these materials are very straightforward. Okay, all right. In the next video, we're gonna start talking about the measurement of money, okay, and how to control the money in reality.